Hey guys, I'm your friend Swati. Welcome to my channel. Today we will listen a book named Wings of Fire, which is Kalam sir's autobiography and written jointly by Kalam sir and Arun Tiwari. This book was written at that time when India is developing its technology and strengthening its security. Kalam sir has a tremendous vitality, immense pleasure, and world of ideas. His conversation was not always easy to follow, but was always fresh and stimulating. So, friends, listen Kalam sir's story in my voice. A.p.j. Abdul Kalam, Abul Fakir Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam. I was born in a middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram. My mother, Ashiyamma, who fed a number of people every day. My father, Jainulabdin, neither much educated nor much wealth, but possessed great innate wisdom and true generosity of spirit. They both regarded as ideal couple. I have a secure childhood. I am the one of many children. We lived in a house made in 19th century. Hindus and Muslims lived peacefully. The high priest of famous Rameshwaram temple, Pakshi Lakshman Sastri, was very close friend of my father. Two persons encouraged me most. First one is Jalaluddin, who was the only person in the entire island who could write English. After some years, he married with my sister Johara. Another person who greatly influenced my boyhood was my first cousin Shamshuddin. He was the sole distributor of newspaper in Rameshwaram. For my high school education, I was enrolled in Ramanantpur Sports High School. There I met a teacher, Yudhrej Solomon, who was an ideal guide for eager young mind. When I joined BSc degree course at St. Joseph, I was unaware of any other option for higher education. Only after obtaining a BSc degree, I realized that physics was not my subject. I had to go into engineering to realize my dreams. After that, I took admission in MIT, Madras Institute of Technology. My sister Johara sold her jewelry and arranged money for my engineering. Here, the story begins. I was fascinated towards the aircrafts which are there for demonstration. I felt a strange attraction towards them. I almost spontaneously chose aeronautical engineering as my subject. The goal was very clear in my mind. Now I was going to fly aircraft. After completing engineering, I have two options. One was a career in Air Force and another was at Ministry of Defense. I applied for both but selected at Ministry of Defense. I started my career as senior scientific assistant on a basic salary of 250 per month in 1958. Then I joined ADE Bangalore. There I worked on a hovercraft project named Nandi. After a week, I received a call from the Indian Committee for Space Research to attend an interview for the post of rocket engineer. There I was interviewed by Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, Professor MKG Menon, and Mr. Saraf. There I was selected as a rocket engineer. This was a breakthrough a young man like myself dream of. In 1965, INCOSPAR set up an equatorial rocket launching station at Thumba, near Trivandrum in Kerala. Very soon after this, I went to America NASA for a 6-month training program on sounding rocket launching techniques. As soon as I returned from NASA, India's first rocket launch took place on 21st November 1963. It was a sounding rocket named Nike Apache. Initially, some problems came due to leak in hydraulic system, but we managed to lift the rocket manually and the launch was smooth and problem-free. Professor Sarabhai was highly contagious. He wanted to do something new, something that not had been done before in our country. Sarabhai talking to us about satellite launch vehicle SLV. With the guidance of Professor Sarabhai, the real journey of Indian airspace program had begun. Slowly but surely, two Indian rockets were born at Thumba They were Rohini and Manka. The first Rohini 75 rocket were launched on 20th November 1967. Professor Satish Dhawan was given the responsibility of heading ISRO. The whole complex at Thumba were merged and formed an integrated space center named Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. Almost parallel to our work on SLV, the DRDO was preparing itself for developing an indigenous surface to air missile. The project was sanctioned on February 1972 with the code name Devil. 1976 was the darkest year of my life. My father passed away. The death of Jalaluddin had taken a toll on his health and spirit. He has lost his desire to live. My mother was passed away in the same way. I was physically exhausted and mentally shattered. Later on, we did the first experimental flight trial of SLV 3 for 10th of August 1979. Stage 1 performed perfectly. In the second stage, it was out of control. The flight was terminated after 31 seconds and splashed into the sea 560 kilometers off to Sriharikota. The premature death of my hovercraft Nandi disappointed me. In thorough examination of the failure of Nandi, we found the use of red fuming nitric acid. As participants of SLV3 project, we set three milestones. Number 1, development and flight qualification by 1975. Number 2, suborbital flights by 1976. Number 3, final orbital flight in 1978. This work was tempo had picked up now and changed the atmosphere with excitement. We again worked hard for SLV 3 and finally it was successful. On 18 July 1980 at 0803 hours to be precise, India's first satellite launch vehicle SLV 3 lifted off from Shar and it was successful. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi cabled her congratulations. But at that time, I missed my three influencers my father, mother, and Jalaluddin. Again, the next SLV 3 flight, SLV D1, took off on 31st May 1981. It was successful, and my core team equally contributed for the success on Republic Day of 1981 brought with a pleasant surprise. On the evening of 25th January, Mahadevan, secretary to Professor U.R. Rao, rang off from Delhi and informed me that Home Ministry announced about the Padma Bhushan award on me. I felt blissfully elated as it was due to my gurus. Approximately a year later, on 1st June 1982, I left ISRO and joined DRDL. There, I worked to strengthen and empower our defense aircraft. I proposed projects which christened in accordance with the spirit of India's self reliance. Thus, the surface to surface weapon system became Prithvi and the tactical core vehicle was called Trishul. The surface to air area defense was named as Akash anti tank missile project Nag. I gave the Agni to my long cherished dream of Rex. Now the history changed and whole world's eyes were on India. My search for someone to lead the Prithvi project ended with Colonel V.J. Sundaram, who belonged to EME Corps of the Indian Army with a postgraduate degree in aeronautical engineering and expertise in mechanical vibrations. For Trishul, I found Commander S.R. Mohan, who sailed into defense R&D from Indian Navy. For Agni, I found R.N. Agrawal as the right person. He was an alumnus of MIT with a brilliant academic record and had been managing the aeronautical test facilities at DRDL. Due to technological complexities, Akash and Nag were considered missiles of the future. Therefore, I selected the relatively young Prahalad and N.R. Iyer for Akash and Nag. Two other young men, V.K. Saraswat and A.K. Kapoor, were made deputies to Sundaram and Mohan respectively. We had decided to create an interim infrastructure adjacent to the proof experimental establishment of At Chandipur in Baleshwar district of Odisha, a funding of rupees 30 crores had been given to construct the range called the Interim Test Range. Dr. H.S. Ramarao and his team did an excellent job. There was a beautiful bird sanctuary in Chandipur. I asked the engineers to design the test range without disturbing it. We were at a meeting laying down the targets for 1984 when news came of Dr. Brahmaprakash's death on the evening of 3rd January at Bombay. It was an emotional loss for me. At DRDL, after many brainstorming sessions, we decided to improvise a devil missile to test the system. A devil missile was disassembled, many modifications made, extensive subsystem testing was done, and missile checkout system was configured. After installing a makeshift launcher, the modified and extended range Devil missile was fired on 26 June 1984. This was the first and very significant step in the history of Indian missile development. After the death of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister. By the summer on 3rd August 1985, he laid the foundation stone of Research Center Imarat. The historical first launch of missile program was conducted on 16 September 1985 when Trishul took off from the test range at Sriharikota. For the first time, liquid propellant rocket engines programmed in Prithvi was launched at 11:23 hours on 25th February 1988. Trishul and Prithvi launch was successful, but the launch of Agni failed two times. Media's main cartoon on Agni, a lot of discussions and debates came. In this situation, I told my people, I promise you, we will be back after successfully launching Agni before the end of this month. Finally, on 22nd May 1989 at 0710 hours, Agni took off and it was a perfect launch. The Republic Day 1990, the nation celebrated the success of its missile program. I was conferred the Padma Vibhushan along with Dr. Arunachalam. Two of my other colleagues, J.C. Bhattacharya and R.N. Agrawal, were decorated with Padma Shri awards. It was the first time in the history of Free India that so many scientists affiliated to the same organization found their names on the award list. On 15th October, I turned 60. I looked forward to retirement and planned to open a school for the less privileged children. On 1997, I received India's highest civilian honor, Bharat Ratna. This is the story of the period ending with the first Agni launch. My message to my whole country is problems are a part of life. Suffering is the essence of success. So we have to be positive, rational, and work hard to get the success. So, friends, this is the story of Kalam sir. Hope you all like this. If you want to buy this book, then click on the link given in the description box and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.